When Cherry Blossoms Whisper. Volume 2, Summer's Fragile Heart. Chapter 10, Bitter Chocolate. The days after the festival have a lingering warmth to them, both from the weather and the unspoken tension building between Haruto and Sakura. The school year is winding down, but the emotions between them are becoming more complicated as summer approaches. The days after the festival felt heavier than they should have. Haruto couldn't quite shake the feeling that something had changed, but he couldn't pinpoint what it was. Sakura had been distant ever since that night by the riverbank. She was still the same quiet, composed, yet there was a shift in her that he couldn't ignore. And now, with the summer break looming ahead, things were about to become even more tangled. Sakura sat quietly at her desk in the literature clubroom, her attention focused on the notebook in front of her. The hum of the air conditioner provided a faint background noise, but it did little to drown out the thoughts swirling in her head. The festival had been a turning point, she could feel it, but she didn't know what to do with the growing discomfort in her chest. It was as if the space between her and Haruto had gotten smaller, but the more it shrank, the more she wanted to run from it. But Sakura wasn't one to run, and she had made a promise to herself that she would confront her emotions no matter how complicated they were. She sighed, closing her notebook with a soft snap. Today, she was going to do something. Something small, but perhaps enough to break the tension. Sakura had always been fond of chocolate, specifically the bitter kind. It was a comfort to her, a small piece of sweetness in a world that was often too sharp. So, when she spotted a box of gourmet dark chocolate at a local shop, she knew it would be the perfect gesture. She had prepared it carefully, wrapping the pieces neatly and leaving one on Haruto's desk after everyone had left the clubroom. Haruto arrived a bit later, as usual, his sketchbook under one arm. He had a tendency to arrive when everyone else had already left, preferring the quiet of the room to the bustling noise of the rest of the school. His eyes immediately went to the desk and he noticed the small box resting on the corner. "What's this?" he muttered to himself, approaching it with a mix of curiosity and confusion. Sakura watched him from her seat in the corner of the room, her hands nervously twisting the edge of her notebook. She had no idea what had possessed her to leave it there. Was this really the best way to bridge the gap between them? Haruto picked up the box, his fingers running lightly over the smooth surface. When he opened it, his expression softened slightly, but there was a hint of something else, a slight hesitation in his eyes. "You didn't have to do this," he said quietly, glancing up at her. Sakura swallowed, feeling the weight of his gaze. "I know. It's just. I thought you might like it," she said, her voice unsteady. "It's bitter, like you. I mean, like you always say you like bitter things." There was a faint blush on her cheeks, and for a moment, Haruto didn't respond. He just stared at the piece of chocolate, then back at her. "You think I'm bitter?" he asked, his voice almost teasing. Sakura's heart skipped. "No, I meant. She cut herself off, shaking her head. "Forget it." Haruto chuckled, the sound light but genuine. "I was just teasing." "Thanks, Sakura. I appreciate it." Sakura looked away, hoping he wouldn't notice the flush spreading across her face. "It's just chocolate," she muttered, trying to play it off. Haruto smiled faintly before unwrapping a piece of the chocolate. He took a bite, his eyes briefly closing as he savored the flavor. "It's good," he said after a moment, his tone sincere. "Thanks for this." Sakura nodded, not quite able to meet his eyes. "I'm glad you like it." For a moment, the room was silent, the weight of unspoken words filling the air. It wasn't enough to ease the tension between them, but it was something. A small gesture. A quiet moment. Haruto finished the chocolate, then glanced at her again, his expression softening slightly. "You're different," he said, his voice low. "The way you act around me, it's like you're trying to hide something. And I don't know what it is, but I can tell." Sakura's heart clenched in her chest. She didn't know how to respond. Part of her wanted to open up to him, to tell him everything, but the words felt stuck in her throat. She couldn't share her burdens, her fears and regrets with him, not yet. I'm fine," she said, the words tasting empty even as she said them. "I just think too much sometimes." Haruto didn't press further, but his eyes lingered on her for a moment longer than usual. He turned back to the chocolate box, now empty save for a few small pieces. "You know," he began, "sometimes it's okay to not be fine. You don't have to hide it, Sakura." Sakura's chest tightened at his words, but she didn't know how to respond. Instead, she just nodded. "Thanks," she said softly. "I'll keep that in mind." As Haruto left the room later that day, Sakura sat still for a moment, her fingers idly tracing the edge of her desk. There was something in the way Haruto had spoken to her, something she hadn't expected. Maybe she didn't have to hide everything from him. Maybe, just maybe, he was ready to help her bear the weight of her secrets. But for now, all she could do was wait and let the summer unfold. Thanks for watching our video. If you find this video interesting, then please subscribe our YouTube channel. If you're watching this video from TikTok, Facebook, or Instagram, then follow our page for more contents like this.